Hello everybody, my name is Lorian and I'm going to do a ASMR bookshelf review. As you may know, I am from Thorns and Tarot, and tomes are a very big part of my life, and this is my favourites shelf. So I just wanted to take you through the various books that I adore and, how they mean things to me and stuff like that. So let's go over here and start. This is the Language of Thorns book by Leigh Bardugo, and it's an incredible book. It's a collection of beautiful stories about witches and princes and things like that, monsters and fairy tale creatures. And she is one of my favourite authors. In fact, she is probably my favourite author, and I would recommend you read this after you read the other ones that I have here, but I'll get onto those in just 1 second. Next we have this beautiful book here, An Enchantment of Ravens. This was a debut, I think it was this year or last year, I can't quite remember. And it's basically about fairies and an artist who paints the portrait of a very old fairy, and she has this gift where she can basically portray emotion in paintings, and the Fae don't really like emotions in paintings, so that's kind of what it comes through as. So hijinks ensue from that point on. Oh, that was a bit of a creaky little thing, wasn't it? The next thing we have is Leigh Bardugo here. Now I'm missing the first book because I lent it to a friend and I said that she could borrow it because I'd get the updated version. And this is the Grisha Trilogy. And if you don't know about the Grisha Trilogy, you have to look it up. It's an amazing, amazing trilogy, and it's set in the world of the Grisha, where there's individuals called Grisha, and they have some abilities, and basically it's an incredible fantasy story. But my ultimate favourite from Leigh Bardugo has to be Six of Crows, and it's signed by her. I was lucky enough to meet her, and this is my favourite book ever. So basically this is a book about 6 individuals who are all part of a gang, and they join together to try and free one scientist from an impossible prison. Then they plan it as a kind of a heist, and it follows them very intricately through trying to get this person out, because basically there's going to be a drug on the streets if he's not freed. So that's an incredible story. And then Crooked Kingdom is the second in that, so I would recommend that you take a look. The next book that I'm going to focus on is Illuminae by Amy Kaufman and Jay Kristoff, or Kaufman, I can't remember how you pronounce it. This is a sci-fi, and it's told in the sense of journal entries and transcripts and things like that. And I've read the entire series. I just don't have the last 2 books purchased. But it's an insanely good series of novels, and I would recommend very highly. Recommend it completely, actually. Then we have Rainbow Rowell. I love her book covers, and I really do enjoy these books. These are actually recommended by one of my dear friends, Kaya, and they're very easy to get through. They're very easy reads, and I would recommend to anybody who maybe just wants a very easy read, just for summer or something like that. Then we have Angel Fall. My mother got me this a few years ago, and again I ripped through this. This was an amazing story about angels who have fallen and taken over Earth, and it's a trilogy. I haven't managed to complete the trilogy. This one, correct, I have not managed to find the next 2 books of this either, but this is an incredible novel. It was the first person present novel I read and enjoyed. So yeah, this is a really good book. I love this book. It has tons of personality. Then we have an anthology, and this cover's beautiful. Because You Love to Hate Me, it's all about villain origin stories, and I love myself a good villain, I have to say. So this is an incredible novel. Well, it's a series of stories, so it's also a brilliant series. This one, I have it on my top shelf because I don't like putting books on one shelf and the other, but this is my favourite. This I could live without. But this one, A Court of Mist and Fury. It's a very big book. And it is again about Fae, and this human girl has been kind of dragged into the world of the Fae once again, and it goes on from there. I will say, if you don't like reading some sensual scenes, maybe it's not the right series for you. I did not realise that there were serious scenes like that when I started the trilogy, but if you can deal with it, that's great. Then we have American Gods by Neil Gaiman. So it's basically plays with a lot of the pantheons, like Greek and Norse, and basically since modern day has forgotten about the old ways, it kind of says that we now have a god of TV and a god of technology and stuff like that, and it's really, really interesting. I read that years ago. And then we have here my other bit of favourites, and this actually was bought by a dear friend of mine. It's just the 20th anniversary of Harry Potter in my Slytherin colours, and that's the first one, first book in that series. And then we have Renegades by Marissa Meyer, which is a book about superheroes. The Long Way to a Small Angry Planet, which is a book about this sci-fi, and it's character driven, and I would highly recommend it. She's a very underrated author, but it's basically about having this crew, and they go on a job, and it follows them going through the job. The Dream Thieves, the Raven Boys, the Raven Cycle trilogy. Incredible series, and it centers around a girl called Blue, who is not psychic, but she has a psychic family, and I just adore it so much. And then we have Victoria Schwab. she here has signed all of these. I lent Vicious to a friend of mine, and the first of this one, which is the Savage Song, is actually, I think she's got that as well because I gave it to her. But basically this is my Victoria Schwab area, and I really highly recommend her novels. She always has a very immersive way of writing, and she is one of my favourites, very, very much so. And then let's go up here. This is a recent favourite. She's gradually, or definitely becoming a quick favourite, Holly Black. And it's a novel about vampires. And then this is an epic book, and the finale had me reeling, so I very much recommend. And this Dragon's Green is a middle grade book that my mum got me for Christmas, and that's a really nice little book. The Hate You Give by Angie Thomas, an incredibly important novel. Important. And I do think that everybody should read that. And it's so well written, and it made me cry several times. Then we have The Last Magician by Lisa Maxwell, and this is also a novel that my mum got me for Christmas, and it's kind of a crossover between young adult and adult, about travelling back in time to 1900s in New York and having that whole power manifestation thing. And then The Fortune Teller, I'll get this down, by Gwendolyn Womack. This was given to me, sent to me by Gwendolyn herself for a review, which I will do very soon. And basically it follows Simel, who comes across an old manuscript, and it follows the origins and path of tarot cards, a particular tarot deck. And I really enjoyed this actually, but the full review will come very soon. So that's my favourite shelf, and there are things missing from here because I just don't have enough room. And then the one below is just full of random little bits of crystals and things that I just need to grab and go, like my handy black pepper and stuff like that. It's my shelf. So if you have any recommendations for me, feel free to let me know about your favourites, and if you want me to review some of these, I'll be happy to do so. If you also would like to support the channel, you can get a tarot reading, or you can buy me a coffee, and that information is down below too. But I do wish you all the very best, and I'll take care.